Imagine you regain consciousness and find yourself in a strange place where many other people like you have been brought, but they too do not know why they have been brought there. You understand that a deadly game is taking place here where every 2 minutes one person will die determined by voting. The one who gets the most votes will die. So what will you think about before casting your vote, knowing that your vote will cause the second person to die? Here we see the stark, dark side of humanity. Today we are going to explain a survival thriller movie called Circle, released in 2015. The story begins with a group of 50 people who are shown being held captive in one place. They are all unconscious and are standing around a large red-colored circle, with each person standing in their own circle. After some time, a lady among them regains consciousness and is shocked to see what is happening around her and where she is. In the meantime, she moves from her spot and steps out of her circle. Immediately, an alarm starts ringing and everyone there regains consciousness. A lady among them does not understand what is happening and starts to panic. A man standing in front of her tries to calm her down and tells her to stay in her place. But out of fear, she steps out of her circle and gets electrocuted, causing her to die. Immediately after this, the alarm rings again, causing all the people present to regain full consciousness. As soon as a man tries to check on the dead lady by stepping out of his circle, he also gets electrocuted and dies. Then they see an invisible force drags the dead body into the darkness, which terrifies everyone. It becomes clear that they are trapped in a game from which escape is difficult, because if they move from their spot, they will be electrocuted. We also learn that the participants are not allowed to touch each other, because if they do, an alarm will sound with unpredictable consequences. Everyone understands that they must not move from their spot or they will die. However, the alarm sounds again, and this time the person who was telling the lady and others not to move gets electrocuted and dies. They do not understand why this happens, but a smart man among them figures out that if they bend their hands to point at someone, the arrow on the ground starts moving in that direction. He points at a lady, and when the countdown ends, she is electrocuted and dies. Everyone realizes that each person can only see their own arrow and does not know who is pointing at whom. As people continue to die, they start understanding the rules of the game. They realize that the person who gets the most votes and is pointed at will definitely die, and the alarm will sound every 2 minutes, after which someone must die. A smart woman among them suggests that no one should vote for anyone to die. They try this, but when the alarm sounds after 2 minutes, a random selection occurs and a lady dies. They understand that someone among them must die whether or not they vote. A college student present then suggests that they do not know who is doing this or why, but they need to find out as soon as possible. Therefore, they should first vote to eliminate the older generation, because he thinks the older generation has already lived their lives and we have much more to do. Initially, the others are reluctant, but with no other choice, they agree. They start targeting the 70-year-olds. Meanwhile, they begin sharing information about themselves, but none of them remembers how they ended up there. A boy named Eric tells them that he was abducted by an alien spaceship where he saw many dead bodies. After that, he remembers nothing until he woke up here. This revelation makes everyone think that aliens might be behind all this. They continue voting to eliminate the older people. Some of the elderly lie to save themselves, but they are killed anyway. After eliminating the older people, the college student suggests targeting a lady with cancer who is over 50. However, the others do not agree with this decision and vote to eliminate the college student, instead fearing he might target the people in their 40s next. The game becomes more confusing and no one knows whom to save and whom to kill. The lady with cancer then suggests that they might all be connected somehow, and if they can figure out the connection, they might be able to save themselves. They follow her suggestion, and a lady introduces herself, sharing her life story. However, she is judged and killed by the other. Then everyone becomes scared because they realize that sharing information about themselves could lead to their deaths. No one is willing to share until a man named Craig steps forward. He introduces himself and talks about his wife, saying she is also trapped in this game, and requests everyone not to vote for her. As time passes, connections between the participants start to emerge, and some people realize they already knew each other. They then decide to target a Spanish man, but not everyone agrees. They argue that despite his nationality, he is a human being and deserves to live. Nonetheless, they end up voting to kill an older Asian lady. After this, a police officer accuses a man with tattoos of murdering his girlfriend, brutally claiming he does not deserve to live. Despite the man's denials, they vote to kill him as well. The situation deteriorates further and they begin voting based on religion. They vote to kill a Muslim woman first. Suddenly a man starts talking about racism, suggesting they should now target black people. Whites will kill them, although many black people have already been killed. A black man suggests they should now vote to kill all the white people. This angers the Americans and they start cursing at the police officer, leading everyone to vote him out and kill him. A soldier then suggests they've tried everything with no success and proposes that everyone votes for themselves to see if that changes anything. They agree and attempt this strategy, but it turns out they cannot vote for themselves. Instead, they vote for the person next to them, resulting in everyone having one vote, but it doesn't work and one person is killed. They try again, and this time a pregnant lady and a man are left in a tie. Eric suggests secretly voting to eliminate the man, and everyone agrees. Eric believes that, in the end, either the pregnant lady or a 10-year-old girl should survive. Half the group agrees not to vote for the pregnant lady, but some do not. The next round is between the 10-year-old girl and an elderly woman. The group decides to save the little girl. The game becomes increasingly more tense. They then decide that the next elimination should be voluntary. If anyone is willing to sacrifice themselves to save others, they can volunteer. A black man sacrifices himself for a teenage boy named Sean and an older woman. Afterward, they ask the soldier to volunteer, but he refuses, saying he hasn't even seen his unborn child yet and cannot die without seeing the baby. Everyone becomes emotional and doesn't vote for him. Then one man suggests that everything happening is God's will. This angers another man, who argues that if God existed, he would not allow such suffering and would save their lives. The believers in God get upset and vote against the man who questioned their faith. The vote ties between him and a young lady, resulting in the man's survival. He laughs and accuses the young lady of being a prostitute, having an affair with her boss, insulting her harshly. This leads everyone to eliminate and kill the man. Afterwards, an elderly man suggests they target those who have no children or family. A man asks the woman next to him about her background. She reveals she is married with a child, but also mentions she is a lesbian. The man considers it a sin and speaks against her, trying to persuade others to vote her out. However, the group disagrees, believing being a lesbian is not a sin, and they vote to kill the man instead. Shortly after, there is a tie between a boy and a girl who are having an affair. Since no one votes for them, both end up dying. This reveals a new rule. If there's a tie and no one votes, both tied individuals will die. Everyone is shocked by this revelation. A man with long hair and a beard then questions if anyone will survive this game, noting that in the case of a tie, both can die. Eric suggests that in the end, the pregnant lady will be the only one left, as they cannot kill her. Whoever is left with her must sacrifice themselves so she can survive. They begin discussing this, and an old man starts talking to the pregnant lady. The old man says that if they want to save the pregnant lady, they must kill the girl, because if there's a tie between the pregnant lady and the 10-year-old girl, they won't be able to vote, resulting in both of them dying. This angers everyone, and they get mad at the old man, who justifies himself by saying he donates a lot for the development of society. During this heated discussion, the lady translating for the Spanish man dies. They vote again, leading to a tie between the 10-year-old girl and another person. Teams start to form. One team, including Eric and the soldier, wants to save the pregnant lady and the girl, while the other team, including the donation-giving old man and the long-haired bearded man, wants to eliminate them. Despite having more members, the team wanting to eliminate them loses the tie because the Spanish man sacrifices himself to save the girl. In the next round, the tie is between the old man and the girl. The old man is secretly voted out and killed by Craig's wife. With both groups now equal in number, the group that wants to eliminate the pregnant lady and the girl decides to vote out the soldier from Eric's group. The soldier suggests voting for Craig's wife. To save his wife, Craig switches to the first group. This results in the first group voting out and killing the black man from the second group, who had planned to eliminate the soldier. Soon after, it's revealed that Craig and the lady aren't really married. Enraged, everyone votes Craig out and kills him. An unusual event occurs next. A tie among 5 people results in several deaths. The match is between the long-haired bearded man and another person, with the long-haired man surviving. Now 7 people remain. Suddenly, one man sacrifices himself because he didn't want to kill anyone. After his sacrifice, 6 people remain. The long-haired bearded man from the other group makes a deal with Eric, which Eric accepts, knowing that the bearded man would do anything to eliminate the pregnant lady. Eric had a plan to save her. The bearded man convinces everyone to vote for a woman in his group, assuring them she would be safe. However, as the countdown ends, she dies because one person in the bearded man's group didn't vote for the first group's members. Eric had noticed from the beginning that this person wasn't voting for anyone. Then the bearded man votes out the non-voter from his group. Eric pretends to vote for this person as well, but unexpectedly votes for the bearded man, killing him. Eric then votes out the non-voter, leaving only the pregnant lady, her 10-year-old daughter, and himself. The pregnant lady becomes scared because she doesn't want to kill her own child. Eric tells her that everything now depends on her because if he sacrifices himself, she will have to decide who will die between her and her daughter. The pregnant lady suggests that if she and the little girl step out of their circles when the countdown ends, Eric will survive without having to vote against the child. Eric manipulates the pregnant lady into believing this plan will work. The little girl volunteers to save the unborn baby in her mother's womb. As the countdown finishes, Eric tells the girl to step out of the circle, which she does. However, Eric then votes to kill the pregnant lady, resulting in the deaths of both the mother and the girl, saving himself. Eric's plan to save himself seems successful, but shortly after the elimination countdown starts again. Eric is confused, thinking the last person would be spared. It turns out there was one last participant left to kill, the unborn baby of the pregnant lady. Eric has to vote to kill it. He does so and then suddenly loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself back on Earth with many alien spaceships flying overhead. Seeing this, he starts to move forward through a nearby tunnel. As Eric goes through the tunnel, he sees more people who have played the same game and survived. The movie ends here. I know this survival story is a bit strange, but please let us know in the comments whether you think Eric did the right thing or not. In such a situation, a person prioritizes their own survival, but could Eric have saved the pregnant lady? The answer to that remains uncertain. Regardless, we are eager to hear your thoughts on this. That's all for today's video, but we will be back with another interesting story soon. Until then, thank you, and please subscribe to increase our family.